Hello everyone and welcome to today's session. We will be discussing about the just unveiled financial budget with Mr. Straton Makundi, who is a tax expert and managing partner from Auditax Tanzania. Mr. Straton, you're very welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Deborah, for having me in this session.
It's definitely a pleasure to have you. And speaking of such an interesting topic as the budget, I would like to hear from you, having been the tax expert that you are. I'm pretty sure we're going to be able to get a lot of important insights on the topic of not just tax, but the budget in general and what it carries. Many people have been following up on what has been going on and what points have been mentioned regarding the budget of the 2021-2022 year that is upcoming. And with the Minister of Finance and Planning having unveiled the budget for the 2021-2022 term, what is your overall view about the whole budget?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Deborah. So overall, my view is the budget is an ambitious budget. Yeah, the minister has been ambitious, and this is because he's unveiled the budget for 2021-2022 of 36.3 trillion. And this is an increase of about 9% from last year's budget. So given the circumstances we're having now, like the challenges of COVID-19 and the missed revenue targets, if you look at the revenue collections, tax revenue collections, overall revenue collections up to April for the previous budget, we missed the target by about 13%. Yeah, so being bold to push for an increase of 9%, about 9%, is a bit ambitious. Yeah.
And before we move ahead, as a tax expert, you did mention about the tax changes, and we did hear from the address that was being made at Parliament about the tax reforms in this particular budget. And I wanted to know what the implications are about these reforms, the tax reforms, not just to taxpayers, but to businesses and so on.
Oh, thank you very much. So in terms of taxes, the ministers really attempted to address the concerns of the private sector and businesses and employees as well. Yeah, so you will see a number of tax reform measures. Yeah, and the lot of them in this budget. For example, you have reforms on tax administration. Yeah, there are several reforms. There are two major reforms in tax administration. For example, the ministers given power. Yeah, powers were taken from the commissioner. Yeah, to waive interest and penalties. So these discretion powers have been returned to the commissioner. So you will, in May 2020, the government issued regulations for remission of interests and penalties, but these regulations were very limited in terms of scope, and there were a lot of conditionalities for taxpayers to enjoy them. Yeah, so effectively, these were discouraging taxpayers to enjoy the exemptions. So this measure will help taxpayers with non-compliance issues to, if they can convince the Commissioner General to get waivers on interest and penalties. There's also another very big measure which is important for multinational enterprises. Yeah, so if you look at the transfer pricing regulations, there is a provision. There was a provision which required if TRI, Tax Revenue Authority, make adjustments on your transfer pricing. So if you have transactions with associates and the prices are not at arm's length, and the TRI, the Commissioner General, makes an adjustment, then you had to pay a penalty of the adjusted amount of about 100%. Yeah, so this was also not a good penalty because it was excessive. Yeah, so this has also been removed. Yeah, so largely on tax administration, that is those are the good measures for taxpayers. And then there are some other measures on other taxes. Like if you look at employment taxes, yeah, definitely employees and employers should also be happy because there's some measures which have been taken in the budget. For example, the three key measures is first of all the lowest employment tax band. Yeah, the rate has been reduced from 9% to 8%. Effectively, there's a saving of about 2,500 shillings per month. Also, there is a measure for workers' compensation fund. Yeah, the contribution by private sector was 1%. Yeah, of gross cash enrollments by employers as payments to staff. So this has also been reduced from 1% to 0.6%. So it's going to help employers and employees generally. And then there's also a measure which will be celebrated probably by small businesses and startups in terms of the threshold for SDL, skills and development levy. Now, it used to start from 4 employees. If you had 4 employees, then you need to pay skills and development levy of 4%. Now, it will start from 10 employees and above. So this is also a very good measure, and these have been complaints by the private sector. So the minister has actually taken them into account. And then if you look at other taxes like VAT, for example, there are also good measures there. For example, there's been for NGOs, exemptions of VAT, for imports and local purchases, for projects with agreements with the government. Yeah, so this is a very good measure for NGOs. Also for NGOs, the process of applying for VAT exemption, it used to be you need to get the minister publishing a government notice, and then you start applying. But now you applied directly to TRI. Yeah, so there will be time saving, there'll be efficiency. Yeah, this is also a very good measure for NGOs. There's also another measure for VAT exemption. Yeah, on smartphones, tablets, etc. Yeah, the government is aiming on data penetration of 80% by 2025. Now it is about 46%. Yeah, so you can see that is also a very good measure. There are also some other measures like excise duty. Yeah, so the government has reduced. This is a very good news, especially to beer drinkers. Yeah, the government has reduced excise duty for locally grown and malted barley. So that is a good news. Is over 100 shillings reduction. There's also increase in excise duty for spirits. Yeah. So those are some measures. On excise duty, there's also good news. The government has not increased excise duty for most of the products. Yeah. So items charged with excise duty. So this is also a very good news. Yeah. And it will help to boost manufacturing, etc. Yeah, and consumption as well. Yeah, other measures, tax measures in the budget include taxes on fuel and road tolls. There's been an increase there, and the minister is aiming at getting funds to fund rural road construction, for example. Yeah, so those are some measures on fuel and road tolls. But there's tax also levied a levy on money transfer fee and SIM card levy. Yeah, so the government has decided that there will be a SIM card levy of between 10 shillings and 200 shillings per day per SIM card. Depending on the ability of the user to recharge, and a money transfer fee, So these are some of the measures affecting telecoms. In terms of other taxes, you have a proper tax. So the government has decided, because of the challenges in collecting overall administration of proper tax, the government has decided to introduce, include payment of proper tax in prepaid electricity bill. So there will be, for ordinary buildings, 1,000 T shillings per month, and for story buildings, 5,000 T shillings per month per meter, per 1 meter. So there will be some regulations issued to clarify some areas of administration. So overall, these are some of the major tax reform measures in this budget.
Another issue that I wanted to talk about is the payments that are being proposed towards owners of SIM cards, and that there should be, a person can be charged up to 200 for simply having a SIM card per day. And if you do the math, that is over 60,000 in 10 months. And as much as it might not be a lot of money in Dar es Salaam, there are some villages and regions out there where that is an annual rent for a house. For example, where I come from, there are some houses that rent for 5,000 a day. And so as much as people who live in cities where the circulation of money is much faster won't be able to feel the pinch as much, but there are some people out there who will be able to feel this pinch very much into their their day-to-day life system, not to mention a person who has, let's say, 2 SIM cards or 3 SIM cards. How is this on the best interest of the users?
Yeah, thank you very much for that question. A good question. So you see, if on one side, if you look at the arguments by the minister, the minister is talking about the challenges facing the country, like infrastructure challenges, especially in the rural areas, the issues of water, for example, access to water, etc. So on one hand, the minister, I see the good intention of the minister, trying to open up the country, trying to address the fundamental challenges which are facing the same people, some of them are going to suffer these additional taxes. So you see the good intention of the government to try and open up the country, to try and ensure the infrastructure is improved, and productive activities are taking place. But on the other hand, you see that conflicting with financial inclusion, for example. That conflicting with overall sustainability of the telecom industry. So you need to strike a balance to avoid overtaxing the telecom sector. Much as this sector has grown rapidly, this is one of the fastest growing sector in Tanzania for the past 10 years. So you need to ensure the taxes in this sector. For example, the taxes in this sector, telecoms, are the highest in Africa. In Africa, Tanzania is one of the countries with high tax rates in the telecom industry. If you look at the effective tax rates in this industry, they're about 45%. So there's a need to strike a balance. So this is why saying there's a need to review whether the taxes we're imposing on the telecom sector are too excessive. Much as we want to achieve these very important objectives, but we need to strike a balance to ensure we don't overtax the sector and will not achieve the long-term sustainability effects. Yeah.
And now that we have spoken, and you have given a great insight on many of the things that many people have been finding confusing and not easy to understand, I would like now to hear about property tax and what you think about property tax, because it has been one of the subjects that has been mentioned during the 2021-2022 budget.
Yeah, thank you very much. On property tax, there's been a challenge in administration of property tax in Tanzania, and not just in Tanzania. This is a challenge in developing countries. Yeah, so the ministers come up with proposals to include a property rate in the prepaid electricity bill. Yeah. So now, as I've said, for ordinary buildings, there will be a payment of T-shillings 1,000 per month, and for story building per meter, and for story building 5,000. Yeah. So on one hand, I see the minister, because studies have shown that property tax can contribute significantly to the revenue coffers. Studies have shown you can collect for developing countries between 0.5% to 1% of GDP. So for Tanzania, that amounts to over 1 trillion T-shillings per year. Yeah, so I can see the reason as to why the minister is pushing to ensure there's a better way to collect proper taxes. Yeah, but on the other hand, proper tax. So I can see in terms of administration, is seen that the using the electricity system, water payment system, then you can improve collection of proper tax. But on the other hand, proper tax is a tax on wealth people. Yeah, and is a tax premised on ability to pay. Yeah, so you need to ensure whatever measures you're taking, then you're not missing that point in terms of not just ensuring administrative efficiency, but ensuring you target the wealth people. Yeah, the principle of equity to ensure equity. So there are a lot of challenges in the proposed measure. Yeah, because there are some, for example, houses not connected to the prepaid meter for TANESCO, for example. Yeah, so others are using solar, for example. Yeah, so that may be a challenge in terms of administration. Also, there's a challenge on the tenants are going to pay this. Yeah, so how practically will they be able to recover this from the landlords? There needs to be clarity on that area. Then the other issue is ability to pay. For example, how do you differentiate? For example, I've not seen anything about industrial properties, commercial properties. Yeah, so you see, because they must be differentiated from residential properties. Yeah, but there are even more bigger challenges. Like, for example, I've seen countries like Ethiopia and Mozambique, for example. They've been very successful in administering proper tax. But they've relied on, I understand the challenge the minister is trying to address. For example, one of the biggest challenge in effectively collecting proper tax is valuation of properties. Yeah, so there's a challenge in terms of complex valuation techniques, for example. So very expensive, takes time, and requires a matured market. Yeah, matured market for properties. So I can see that challenge. But these countries I've mentioned, they've used standardized assessment methods, and they've based on, for example, the size of the property, the location, access. For example, a country like I think Sierra Leone, based on also consideration for access to roads, for example, because property tax, you pay for the services you're enjoying in your locality. Yeah, so you need to ensure this those who are enjoying more, they are also contributing more. Yeah, so I don't see that coming out clearly from the proposals by the minister. So while we try to implement this proposal, there's a need to also learn from these other countries which have been successful in implementing an effective property tax collection system. But the last one is there are issues related to education, yeah, to taxpayers, and also ensuring the benefits from these collections are actually used for the intended purposes. Yeah. So because if that is not done, then people will be motivated to pay. So these are issues to look at.
I just wanted to know, I was curious to know, who are the main beneficiaries with this particular budget?
The overall, you could say the several beneficiaries in this budget, and several, for example, including small scale businesses, startups, for example, the changes which have been made in the employment taxes, they're going to help them a lot. Also, beer drinkers, I would say, they've had their locally beer drinkers, the prices will probably go down because of these measures. And overall, also, there's not been additional taxes on these products.
I would like to really thank you for joining me today, Mr. Straton, and for the viewers and listeners out there. We were discussing about the newly released budget of Tanzania for the year 2021 and 2022. My name is Deborah Lula. Please catch up on me on our next session, at our next discussion. It's going to be exciting as usual. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Deborah.
Thank you very much. It was really nice to have you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.